Oh, I know what this is. You've been able to sustain world peace because you have one night a year where you all run around robbing and murdering each other without consequence.
That's right.
What? It's like the Purge, Morty.
Hey Wisecrack, Jared here, and today we're talking about future America's favorite pastime, purging. At first glance, The Purge seems like your typical horror film. A decent concept,
Any and all crime will be legal for 12 continuous hours.
questionable acting, and all the violent carnage you could ask for. But perhaps the scariest thing about The Purge isn't the creepy masks and rapists with bad teeth, but the way it highlights the dehumanizing policies of our current social landscape. With a closer look, The Purge can be considered a commentary on our socio-political existence, a thinly veiled allegory for America's corrupt politics, rigged economic systems, and culture of violence. Welcome to this Wisecrack Edition on the philosophy of The Purge.
Like the movie The Purge?
Yes, I need you to take...
That movie sucked.
Oh my god, hold on.
The Purge isn't entirely unlike other ritualistic festivals like Mardi Gras, Carnival, or even Halloween. Sure, The Purge is more murder and theft and less dancing and feasting before Lent, but they're essentially the same concept. Designated times where people can violate social norms.
The Purge is Halloween for adults!
It may seem like these events are a way to undermine the power law and religion have over people. But it's actually the opposite. They reaffirm these social structures. The NFFA, or the leaders that sanction the ritual, aren't actually challenged by the Purge. On the contrary, the chaos of the night leaves people longing for the return of the law the next day. It's kinda like a Purge hangover. If a ritual like Carnival exists to make people accept the tenets of Christianity, the Purge exists to make people accept the tenets of the ruling social ideology. This societal order can best be described in one word: neoliberalism.
To another successful year of the festival, pitting poor people against each other for thousands of years.
The Politics of Disposability. The basic idea of neoliberalism is that the government should hop off the market's nuts and only craft policies that promote the free flow of goods and protect corporate interests. Each movie reflects a different facet of the neoliberal economy. The way characters deal with the Purge brings to focus the conditions of their respective economic class. The original Purge is about the impact of the event on an upper-middle-class suburban family. The Sandins have burb problems. A sketchy-looking homeless guy infiltrates their gated community, their neighbors can't keep up with the Joneses, so they try to kill them out of jealousy.
You made so much money off of us, and then you just stuck it in our faces.
Their daughter is hooking up with an older dude that tries to kill Daddy Sandin, and their son is creepy as hell. The Purge Anarchy focuses on the economic problems of a working-class family. Eva Sanchez can barely make ends meet, can't afford medicine for her father, and desperately needs a raise.
You're really gonna ask her tonight?
I have to. I can't afford his medicine much longer.
The inner city is full of purge traps, gangs roaming around in taco trucks, dirt bikers kidnapping people, every apartment shown involves either attempted rape or domestic violence, government officials round people up in 18-wheelers, and people are abducted for some sort of remake of The Running Man. You know, Detroit on a Tuesday. If you compare the settings of the first two films, they can be understood as a metaphor for white flight, the retreat of upper-class white folks from the cities to the sheltered, poverty-free suburbs. This abandonment exposes those left in the inner city to disproportionate amounts of crime, homelessness, and poverty, or in the case of the films, purging.
We're downtown. Everyone comes downtown to purge.
For the Sandins, the idea that they even have to deal with violence against the poor is unacceptable because
things like this are not supposed to happen in our neighborhood.
The Purge election year is about the consequences of the holiday on small business owners. Joe finds out that the premiums for his Purge insurance are going up for no reason.
Why are you raising my rates now? Do you know what today is?
Something common when there are no government checks to stop insurance companies from doing you like that.
They just raised the premium on my Purge coverage by thousands the day before the damn Purge. If I don't pay it by tomorrow, I have no Purge coverage for this store.
They can't do that.
Yeah, well, they just did it.
Taken as a whole, these examples not only illustrate the injustices of the Purge, but of our economic system in general.
Okay, kids, now, I know bad things do happen tonight, but we can afford protection. So we'll be fine just like always.
People who prosper under neoliberalism benefit from the Purge, and those who get fucked by neoliberalism also get fucked by the Purge. The upper middle class largely profits from murder night. The Sandins' gaudy home remodel is paid for by home security systems sold to people based on the fear manifested by the Purge.
You know your husband sold a new security system to almost every home in this community.
But the working class, not so much. Since Eva Sanchez's boss won't give her a raise, they can only protect themselves with a couple flimsy 2x4s. Now that Joe can't afford Purge insurance,
I'll just have to protect this place myself.
He has to spend Purge night guarding his deli with little more than a shoddy rolling steel door, and eventually loses his life because of it. Put another way, The Purge exposes how neoliberal economics breeds a politics of disposability, something explained by thinkers Henry Giroux and Brad Evans. In the original Purge, suburbanites view entire groups of people as superfluous, disposable. It's the reason the bloody stranger is referred to as swine and filth by his foil, the polite stranger.
Mr. and Mrs. The man you're sheltering is nothing but a dirty homeless pig.
It's how James Sandon justifies incapacitating and torturing his house guest. He is merely a means to saving his family. It isn't until the bloody stranger volunteers to give himself up that James finally sees him as fully human and decides not to turn him over to the freaks. In The Purge Anarchy, the unchecked price of medication forces Papa Sanchez to sell his life to the rich so his family can be eased of economic hardship.
$100,000 will be transferred into your accounts, my darlings.
As a disposable object, his life is more valuable to his family than as an actual person.
It's how the wealthy purge, baby. They buy poor and sick people and they take them into their homes and they kill them where they're safe.
Or perhaps Rick and Morty say it best.
This girl is one of your poor people, and I guess you guys felt like it was okay to subject her to inhuman conditions because there was no chance of it ever hurting you. It's sort of the socio-political equivalent of, say, a suit of power armor around you, but now things are evened out, so... Arthritia?
Giroux and Evans argue that people become disposable under an economic system that is characterized by privatization of things like healthcare, the deregulation of banks, and the erosion of government safety nets like Social Security and welfare.
For the past 20 years, the NFFA has taken a legalized murder to decrease the poor population, which in turn keeps the government spending down. Less welfare, less healthcare, less housing.
If The Purge stands as a one-night reference point for the terrors of such policies, then shutting down medical and police services makes sense, because government policy can't possibly be more lax than that. All of this is justified under the banner of economic growth.
They're keeping the population down by getting rid of people like us to save money.
The elderly, infirmed, poor, and so-called non-contributors are sacrificed so the economy can grow unhindered.
These are the real victims of the purge, people that the NFFA are trying to eliminate so that they don't have to take care of them anymore.
This elimination of the population is actually paralleled in the real neoliberal economy. People unable to afford EpiPens, people stuck eating ramen and the dollar menu for 20 years, or people exposed to contaminated drinking water, pollution from coal factory plants, and nuclear waste. Neoliberalism exposes those same populations to slow death. Instead of actively purging them, it just sort of lets them die. This justification for the purge isn't based on some new fancy economic idea. It goes all the way back to 1798 in a book titled Essay on the Principle of Population by Reverend Thomas Robert Malthus, aka Reverend Run. Malthus argued that because production would be unable to keep up with demand, a growing population would create massive food shortages. His solution? Employ laws that keep birth rates low and death rates high. Things like famine, disease, and wars.
Unfortunately, the citizens aren't killing enough, so we supplement it all to keep things balanced.
This is echoed in the Purge election year by Caleb Warrens, head of the NFFA.
Idealistic pigs. They want the impossible. Everyone to have. Some cannot have. Not enough to go around.
But does this logic hold up? For Friedrich Engels of the hip-hop duo Kami Much Beard, Malthus had it all wrong. The issue isn't increasing population. It's an economic system that doesn't value workers. Malthus was putting economics above people. Essentially, Engels argued that Malthus's model was nothing more than an excuse to be a dick to poor people. With their over-the-top purge ceremonies, the NFFA clearly have more than economic concerns on the mind. They take being a dick to poor people to the next level.
Gone again!
Neoliberal policies are confusing in the abstract. There's a bunch of economic theory and political jargon you're supposed to know. But the genius of The Purge is the way that it uses Murder Night to viscerally expose how this kind of economy generates profit in a predatory manner.
Profit making is not the essence of democracy. Wake up, people. Wake up!
The privileged make money hand over fist on weapon sales, insurance, private bodyguards, and home security systems, while the poor have to fight to simply survive. Conclusion. The Purge movies may present an opportunity to peek into a not-so-distant dystopia, except most of the main characters don't enjoy purging much. The Rick and Morty episode about purging provides an interesting counterpoint. Rick's sick enjoyment of the brutal violence says more about the audience than the films.
If there's a video online with someone getting decapitated, you don't click on it?
No! Why would I do that? You do that?
I don't, because it would bore me. I see like that for breakfast, Morty.
Sitting in front of any of the Purge movies puts us in Rick's position.
Oh my god, this is Awesome! Morty, this is really cool!
Perhaps the reality is we're the murder tourists, perusing through each sequel, excitingly waiting for a titillating peek at something shocking and new. After all, does anybody actually remember any of the characters of these movies?
We don't even know your names.
Do we all go see the next Purge movie because we can't wait to see what happens next with the new Founding Fathers? Or perhaps the success of the Purge films reveals what most of us already know. People like watching violent shit because, well, sometimes it just feels good.